A lot of discussion about House Bill 360. So I read the Ohio Legislative Service Commission final analysis of that. And by the way, House Bill 360 has been replaced by House Bill 59 on June 30th, 2015. And it does limit the number of PSAPs a county can have. But a county our size can have 3. So we are well within that limit, and no one's forcing us to be 1 PSAP. The bill does state, though, that in order to be in compliance, the PSAP staff must be fully staffed with 2 dispatchers on duty at all times. The cost of the county doing this will be at least $320,000, $325,23. That is the $747,140, which is wages, benefits, and health columns. And I'm just going with the first year. There's 2%. The sheriff has put in 2% per. I'm on the first page of dispatch costs. So to be in compliance with the full staffed PSAP, it'll cost the county $320,523, which is, this is what the sheriff projected we will spend in 2016, minus what we are currently spending according to page 22 of the feasibility study. So according to the feasibility study, we are spending $426,617 currently for PSAP. Okay, so it'll cost us $320,000. House Bill 59 says that the penalty for not complying is losing half of our wireless 911 funds, which right now is about $45,000. So not being in compliance is quite a significant money saving. There is no threat of the state coming in and taking over our services or forcing us to merge with anyone. With that being said, I really do think that the merger needs to happen. I think that it makes sense to have 2 dispatchers on at all times. So I'm in favor of the merger, but I'm not in favor of the levy. Okay, so it isn't right to ask Eaton to contribute to the cost of our communication with the merger discussion. So I've split out the numbers the sheriff has given us into 2 parts. The first page is the dispatch costs. I want to talk about those first. And the second page that you'll have is my analysis of the dispatch merger with the sheriff's numbers. I used the 747-140, which is the first 3 columns of the dispatch costs. Now, I did use the feasibility study for operating costs because the operating costs on the dispatch, if you look at the dispatch page, those operating costs were only $74,000. The operating costs in the feasibility study were $165,000, which seemed to include everything like the office expenses and future tech costs. So I added, on that second page, you can see the dispatcher 747-140, which is using the personnel cost of the sheriff, operating cost of $165 from the feasibility study, which adds up to the $912,140. We do have the one-time transition cost, $84,000. So I still believe that a shared service agreement is the way to go to be in compliance with the state and thus continue to receive our $45,000 in 911 money. And saving the city of Eaton significant money. So with no levy, I propose the county pays $600,000 and Eaton pays $300,000, and we have the $900,000. And if you want to add 2% in going forward, I mean that's only 2%. That's not millions. All right. So as for the communication piece, all right. So does anybody have any questions on the dispatch piece? I did add the post-warranty column from the sheriff's spreadsheet. I added that in, that's the consoles. We've been told that's communication, but since the consoles started all this argument, all this controversy, I added it into the dispatch costs. So, either way to go. Any questions on the dispatch piece thus far? These are the exact numbers that the sheriff gave us 2 weeks ago. All right. The next page is the communication costs. These are all the columns from the spreadsheet the sheriff gave us. And right now, the sheriff told me in an email that we are spending $74,000 for communication. I'd like to know how we go from spending $74,000 to $477,000. I realize that we have towers to replace that cost $1 million, but the new numbers in the capital expense column is over $3 million. With this $1 million that we're looking at, we need to discuss, we could get a low interest loan. Our county has an excellent credit rating. We could get a low interest loan You spread it out over 10 years and put those payments into the sheriff's budget and pay for the tower replacement that he says we need. So maybe someone can explain to me how we're going from 74,000 to 477,000 with only needing $1 million for towers. Okay, so that's the communication piece. I asked our auditor, this last 2 pages, one of you may have 2 pages of the same thing, because I'm up here sorting at the last minute, so. I asked our auditor to provide me with a breakdown of who would contribute what of the 1.3 million that the levy will generate. She provided me with numbers that the city would be bringing in. So this first page is what the total will bring in, 1.305, 290.50. And the second page shows that the city of Eaton, with the levy, will bring in 215,560. That doesn't even cover the cost of our taking their employees and training them, because I think it's going to be at least $320,000 just to cover the employees the first year. So this $200,000 that the levy will bring in from Eaton doesn't even cover those costs. I'm suggesting that if the levy passes, the city pays $200,000 toward the expense of the dispatch center, and this will save them more than half of what they're currently spending. I also suggest that any money that we are currently spending on dispatch and communication be retained in the general fund. And according to the numbers I have, which came from the sheriff either directly or via the feasibility study, we are spending $657,000 between communication and dispatch. That's 583 from dispatch and 74 from the communication. If we pass a levy to take more money from the pockets of our residents to have a dedicated funding stream for dispatch, I think we should figure out a way to return the money that we are currently spending on dispatch and communication to the taxpayers. Maybe a reduction in sales tax. It could be something we could discuss. But if we're going to take more money out of one pocket, we need to try to restore it in the other pocket. We're going to have our dedicated funding stream. And my last point, and this is a real concern of mine. If we put this on the ballot and we don't need it, how are the people going to trust us when we do need it? When we come to them and we say, we need money. I'm saying right now from the figures, even the sheriff's figures, that we do not need a levy. The $1 million we can pay for, the tower replacement we can pay for with the low interest loan. If we had a shared service agreement with Eaton, we would not need a levy.